We're up on Facebook. Although I don't have any of our icons ready. Doesn't matter. Hey everyone, welcome to the New Media Show. My name is Todd Cochran. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee. Rob, how you doing?
Doing terrific, Todd. Busy day, right?
Yes, it is. A happy International Podcast Day.
Yeah, happy International Podcast Day, right? And was this like the 10th year they've done that? Or
Wow, I don't know.
Yeah, what's the anniversary number on that? Do you have an idea?
I've been involved at least 3 or 4 years. I don't know what year number they're on. To be frank, maybe I can go over the website and maybe it'll show. But we've been teamed up with them for the podcast award for at least 4 years. I don't know if they have a history of this or not. Well, I don't know when they started it. So
yeah, I was just curious if you happen to know that off the top of your head, because I don't either.
It was 2014. The National Podcast Day was celebrated with 6 hours of broadcasting. So 2014.
14 is when it started. Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 years. Yep.
And this is officially sanctioned International Podcast Day for people that. How do you do that? Well, there's the International Podcast, or actually International Day group. I know the person that runs it, and they officially brought it into the National Day calendar. I guess then 5 years ago or 6 years ago.
Yeah, I know that was a big deal back then. I think the first couple of years there was a lot of publicity, articles. A lot of the major news outlets were even covering it at that point.
Yep. And I think the only ones I've seen actually announce much stuff today, believe it or not, was Spotify. They announced a bunch of stuff for International Podcast Day, and but I haven't seen a lot of other social media from other big podcasting groups.
Right.
So it is what it is, but it is the day that we celebrate podcasting. And matter of fact, what happens here is today we're only going to go 60 minutes or 56 more minutes, because at the top of the hour, I've got Adam Curry coming in, and we're going to spend 50 minutes with him pre-recording his segment for the International Podcast Day tonight, where he'll be on at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then with me and Mike Dell, and then at 9 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the podcast award ceremony, which is safely in the can over here.
Oh, you got it already pre-recorded? That's awesome.
It's too risky. Try
and do it live.
And I have a certain time constraint I have to stay in, and so it's too risky to do live. I did it 1 year live, and I think there's maybe still one mistake in the recording. It's not a biggie, but you think back, did I do that right? So that's in the can. It's ready to go. That's why we.
So did you have to go in and do any editing?
No, I don't do editing ever.
Ever? Okay.
Ever.
Okay, I thought you did something.
Well, I have in the past. I've done a little bit here and there, but no, I didn't do any editing because it wasn't that big of a boo-boo.
Right.
And, so we had a requirement for all of our podcast awards nominees, all 200 of them, to have submitted their acceptance video by the 23rd of this month. And then I preview those, sort through them. I know who the winners are by that time, and slot them into so it's, it's a production, but it is a production. It'll appear like it was live. For sure. But it is pre-recorded. But it gives me time to watch the chat room and the reactions and do all that other stuff while it's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So anything else on your plate that you wanted to cover right out of the gate? I know that there's some big things that have come out over the last couple of days that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. Is there anything else on your agenda?
Nothing else really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And
We did another IAB technical working group call.
Oh, that's
earlier.
true.
Yeah. So good progress on that. So things are looking good on that side, even though I think that there's always this constant rumble out there around groups trying to, I guess, don't like the IAB certification process.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what it is and what the industry has.
Yeah.
So, but the big news I thought earlier in the week was the rumor that got broke out by Bloomberg about Wondery being up for sale, which I've been wondering about for a couple of years now.
Right.
When Wondery was going to get snapped up, right? I don't know about you, but now it's official. I guess they're actively shopping it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sorry, I'm just being distracted here at the second. It's part of this insane day where I'm like juggling 5 things, Rob.
Yeah, I get it. But I guess the company has had. I'm talking about the Wondery company. At least in the news here, it's saying they will surpass $40 million in revenue this year.
Wow.
And I guess the company is looking for an acquisition around $200 million. So obviously the investors and the leadership over there kind of want to do an exit. So what it sounds like.
Right.
I wonder if there's any reason for the timing of this, or just maybe this was always the plan.
Right. I've got here's what we have going on with the space is that there's a time right now where people are, with them putting themselves up for sale, and they're profitable. It just looks to me like some investors want, and I don't know if they have, I'm assuming they have investors. The investors want to cash out. They've been in business 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. They've had good growth. So now
probably it's a nice multiple on their investment.
So now
it's time to move on.
And so it's now it's time to get some cash out of it and let someone else potentially take it to the next level. Mm-hmm. But they missed out on some of the big deals. So.
Yeah, is there any of the big players that are left that could snap them up? I think maybe what they're positioning themselves for is getting picked up by some player out of Hollywood.
That could be true.
Is my speculation there. Big studio or big media company that's more on the Hollywood side, more on the radio or online radio, which is where most of the acquisitions have been coming out of prior to the.
I just, yeah. So Rob, here's a scenario for you.
Okay.
Your show's been nominated for the podcast award.
Whose show?
Let's say your show was.
Okay. Just use me as an example.
Yeah, you made the slate.
Okay.
You are sent an email that says, if you do not submit your acceptance video by this date, you will forfeit. And it is September 30th, and it is 6 hours away from the award ceremony. And
so you won.
Well, it's not. Yeah. You don't know if you won.
So
you are one. Everybody.
The nominated shows have to submit a video.
Right. They have to. Whether they don't know if they're doing this blind.
Right.
It's the only way I can do a live show and have the acceptance speeches in, because we used to do it really live and we'd say, okay, it's so-and-so show, you just won, call in now. And they would never show up.
Right. Yeah.
So we basically said, if you do not, and it's in the rules and it's in the emails I sent, if you do not send in your acceptance video, you forfeit if you
Right.
were the winner.
Right.
Now, it's 6 hours before the awards ceremony, and I have a podcaster that is pissed. I understand that was sent in the original email. But yet I didn't get my thing in. Can you give me an exception? 6 hours when the due date was on the 23rd, and they had over a month to submit a video that could have been done with a cell phone, which a lot of the podcast winners did.
Right.
I'm just, and I feel for you that you're busy, things are going on, but if you don't respect your listeners
Right.
enough to have taken the time, 15 minutes to do an acceptance video, that is, to me, is tough.
So it's actually too late because you've already pre-produced
Yeah, it's done. If they
Yeah.
and I don't know if this person was a winner
Was
or
the
not.
winner
I
or
won't. I
not.
won't even
Right.
say.
Right.
You know, I could tell them,
Okay,
never
so
mind, you
then-
didn't win. But I'm not going to say that because we don't tell people who won or lost, and we don't tell people who came in second or none of it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm
If that was the rules, then what happened is appropriate.
right.
So it's not something that is sacrificed in the event itself or makes the event look bad. So it's good.
Right.
And actually, nobody's really embarrassed other than just
Right.
they
And I don't
didn't,
call anybody out and say they didn't submit.
Right. Right. They just don't have a chance of winning. They might have won.
So
Makes sense.
yeah, nothing I can do to help at this point. You know, it's, did someone this year forfeit because they didn't submit a video? I'm not going to say.
Mhm.
I might say later next year, but not today.
Right.
I mean, people can speculate.
Yeah.
But it's a simple requirement. It's just, my God, just take your cell phone and say, hey, thank you for voting for me. Appreciate it. Thank you to my fans, you know, and send it to us.
Right.
So this is where, and I'm the asshole.
Will they show up in the slate of, I mean,
They're in the slate already. They already are in the
They're-
nominee slate.
okay, so it's not like you took them down off the nomination slate.
No. They're
Right,
still
right,
on the
right.
website as
Right.
being a nominee.
Right.
And we had a notice on the website from the very beginning. From the very beginning, it took it off the other day because we just getting ready for the, you know, to have the live video and everything on this on the website. But we had if you're a nominee, we have sent you an email with a pending deadline of 23 August. If you've not heard from us, you need to contact us immediately. And someone on Twitter today said we never got an email. Today, a different podcast said we never got an email. Yet I I went and looked in MailChimp, and yep, there their email address was. And oh, by the way, the email had been opened. So not only did they get it, they read it. So don't tell me you didn't get an email, because we use MailChimp and we have that tracking in there that says you opened the email. So
No hiding on that one.
no hiding on that.
No. Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm distracting everyone here. But this is, hey, so guess what? You get to deal with all this and running your awards thing.
That's true. Yeah, I guess we're both in the awards stuff now, right?
That's right. But how do you have do you whisper over to a certain show? hey, by the way, you're the winner. You need to send me a video. You know,
I don't think we've decided on how winners are gonna respond yet, but we're certainly gonna learn from your example if we are gonna wind up doing a virtual event, especially. But I guess that actually applies even to a in-person event too, right?
because
people
because
can't always make it.
no, because then what do? You have 200 people on standby. You've given them the video. What we had one year was a non-winner called in because we'd given all 200 of them the actual the Skype address to call into, and one of them called in and was being, I really didn't win, but I wanted to say hi, and then clicked off.
Right.
You know,
Great.
Yeah, great. You know, had an interloper on the award ceremony. So I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. And I'm not doing it where I have 20 winners and only 7 show up. It was an insult. So that was the methodology that got us here to doing it the way we did.
Yeah. Seems to make sense to me.
Seems to make sense to me too. But
yes. Yeah.
What can I do? No. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I took us on a sidetrack here, but I got the email blasting me in the face for being unfair.
So I don't know. Do we want to drop the bomb that the industry is not going to be counting Apple Watch downloads?
Well, I think we already talked about it, but as of tomorrow,
as of tomorrow, your stats at most of the hosting platforms, I would imagine, your stats are going to drop.
Yep, because there's no more Apple Watch counting.
Yep,
and that has been forthcoming for a long time. Of course, at Libsyn, you guys dropped it a year more than a year ago.
Right.
So nothing's going to happen at Libsyn. It's still the same.
Yeah, I mean, if you're hosting on Libsyn, you won't see a change in your numbers.
Right.
But on many other platforms, you will see a reduction in your numbers.
That's fact.
It's just how much is a big question.
Well, some shows more than others.
Right.
Depends on how many Apple Podcast subscribers you have and how many of them have Apple Watch.
Right. It's going to vary show to show.
If you have an Android-specific show, you're probably going to be okay.
So, Todd, did you see the article in Pod News? Well, actually, it wasn't an article in Pod News. They linked to an article in Pod News talking about how there's some guys out there trying to fake IAB certified download.
Yeah, I did. And actually, I feel bad for the company that was used as the example.
I think there's a couple of companies that were used as an example.
I think only one, wasn't it?
Well, Chartable, and I see in the article a reference to, let's see, Chartable and Acast.
Oh, so they did more than one company.
Ayusha, I'm not familiar with, and Spreaker.
So we had a discussion about that internally. I had my dev team go and review, and my main point is that not all podcast measurement companies are the same, and if you have been in the business long enough and have had to deal with fraud before, then potentially you already have provisions built to prevent what they did. But they spent a lot of money to fake some downloads.
Well, I think the point of the article was that the guy that tried to do it didn't spend very much. I think is what was part of the reference in the article or in the discussion. Anyway, I don't know if it was in the article.
I thought I was looking. Setup costs around $180, monthly subscriptions $30 to $50.
Right.
And then he built a script, and and ran the script and got about 30,000
downloads a month.
And he had to pay for those downloads.
Right.
So
I would imagine that, most of the platforms are going to learn from this. I would think that if your platform was built right, you would have detected this.
Um, I don't want to give away fraud prevention fraud prevention stuff that we do.
Mhm.
But
Right, because it's an arms war.
that
Right?
person is probably listening to this show, or someone that's involved with it is listening to this show.
Mhm.
I believe we would have fared better, much better. That's what I believe, based upon
Right.
what we saw. And I'm not going to really I don't want to because if I say how,
Right.
then they'll just build around that. So,
Right.
but if someone wants to go to the length of faking an IP
Right.
and faking user agents and changing the user agents and or changing the IPs, there's not a lot you can do against that to a certain extent. But
Right.
there are other things that you can really watch out for. And especially if someone is going to try to do fraud on a specific episode that is being monetized, if you don't do it to the shows before, many weeks and months of shows before, and many weeks and shows a month after, and you have a single show with a spike, well, let's go look at that. And the extra scrutiny will often determine, hey, let's look at the log files and look at the timing and look at all the other things that happened to determine if there was something that weird went on. But if someone's trying to do this to get a payday, well, let's think about the payday. And it probably will be a one-time payday because if you got 30,000 fake downloads and he billed that at $20 CPM, well, that's probably a pretty decent payday then. If I did my math right, that's $600.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say the downloads were really 300 and not 30,000, then the advertiser's going to go, how come I got no performance on this? And they're going to never advertise with that show ever again. So it's a one-time payday, and you have gotten yourself added to a blacklist by that advertiser, never to be advertised on again. So yeah, you can go ahead and do this cheating.
Right. But it's going to backfire in the end unless you keep it going forever. Right.
Now, let's say you spent this money and the hosting provider already had preventative, and here's the thing, Chartable has never seen fraud attempt. They haven't had to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw fraud at monumental scales in the early days. And, everyone was running scripts and doing all kinds of things to pump download.
Yeah.
It was rampant. 2006, 2007, 2008. It was rampant.
Right.
So we learned very quickly, okay, every time they changed the script, we added another filter. So there's probably one combination that none of us can catch. And that would be, I don't know if I want to say it.
Yeah, you probably don't.
So, but they're going to have to work really, 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 really hard to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to work really to do that at scale. To do the method to really cheat, and they're gonna have to pay for that bandwidth and everything else too. So, with whatever service they're running,
mm-hmm.
I did see that they had more than one company that they did kind of catch here. And this is why we've always said, as part of our IB certification, we go beyond at least at Blueberry, we go beyond what the IB requires. Are we going to catch everything? Nope. If someone comes up with the right combination of stuff to cheat, something we haven't seen before, yeah, it maybe it'll slide through. But I don't think the average podcaster today is going to go to this level or have the technical know-how to do that. But is this just someone's campaign to try to discredit IB stats? Who paid this guy to do this? Or did he just do this to
It's a really very good question, Todd. It's just the guy that wrote an article, but yeah, it's a good question. Why is there people out there trying to break the IAB's certification? Yeah, but I guess there's potential money to be made, right? That could be the other end of the spectrum.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, there was an update on today where Acast was tested, and they got their stuff was fake too.
Yep.
Huh. Well, we'll see if they test on Blueberry. Well,
there's probably a reason why you guys weren't listed, right?
well, I don't know if they were tested
Didn't
against
work.
us. But
No, I don't either.
will they actually say that if will they say that if we get if we pass their test? Or how about Libsyn? If they run against Libsyn, are they gonna announce that we passed their test or didn't get the same result?
Mm-hmm. So did you see where Apple spent $311,000 on podcast advertising?
I heard that, but it was on their own. It was advertising their own show, right?
Advertising the company all for their Apple. It was advertising for their Apple News product. I think it was on other podcasts.
David says Asha is a large French hosting provider. Never heard of them.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of them before either.
And they're not IB certified.
Yeah.
But again, IB certification that means that you're following the spec correctly. Doesn't mean that you're
can't be hacked.
Right? Yeah, because it means you have to do other things. They never looked at our anti-cheating mechanisms. That never even got looked at.
Yeah, it's not part of the specification
No.
for how to download.
Oh, there is in specification how to count. The question is, they don't look at your technology to eliminate download
or fake sources of legitimate requests, right? Or not legitimate requests, but fake legitimate requests. Yeah, that's a whole nother level of, I guess you could say, security.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I guess some folks will maybe learn from this a little bit. I'm not saying that we're not going to be immune, but I don't want to give them any more hints.
Right.
Sorry, I took us back on this topic. Mike says stirring up doo-doo.
So I saw another podcast award called the Discover Pods Award. It's called for nominations.
The Discover Pod.
Yes. Presented by Buzzsprout. They're a sponsor of this.
Is it their awards?
I don't know. Good question. I'm not sure. It's not off of their website. It's off of a separate website. It's at awards.discoverpods.com. So they're taking nominations. Looks like right now. It says the nominations open starting today, which is today is the 28th. So that was a couple days ago. Through October 11th.
Well, interesting. Oh.
Yeah.
And what's kind of funny is I went to discoverpods.com and there was something I saw on here. So let me stop it right here. If I can bring this up. Of course, they've got, oh, no. They've got a, so let's see here. They've got the 10 best podcasting services. So let me click on this. And who did they pick out as the best? Our favorite. Oh, Buzzsprout. Oh, there's Blueberry number 2. Castos, Podbean, Podiant, Transistor, Spreaker, Simplecast, Fireside, Libsyn gets an honorable mention. All right.
But the awards present Buzzsprout.
I'm always looking for
conflict of interest.
Yeah.
What you're looking for?
Yeah. Don't think I found any.
No.
So here we go.
I'm not sure who's behind the Discover Pod.
I don't know either.
So there's a lot of advertising for Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout does a lot of Buzzsprout does an incredible amount of Google AdWords advertising. You want to see how Buzzsprout gains business.
Right.
Let me just do this. Let me show you this little fun thing.
So the founder and editor of Discover Pod his name is Kevin Goldberg.
Uh-huh. Let's see here. I got ad blocker turned on, so let me turn the ad blocker off. And then let me refresh this page. Oh, I guess they ran out of budget. Usually when I search for Blueberry or Blueberry Podcasting, the company that's advertising against us is Buzzsprout. Yeah, there it is. They love to buy advertising.
So I guess that's the point of this website, is that it's like a podcast reviews, podcast hosting, reference articles. I guess there's posts in here, so it's a content site.
So let me look and see. It's best overall podcast, best new podcast, best individual podcast, most innovative podcast, best podcast hosted by a woman, best podcast creator hosted by a what a POC. What is a POC? Best non-English, best true crime, best sports, best news, best interview, best LGBT, best history. It just goes on. My God. So general info. Who picks these? Does it say?
It looks like that there's contributors. Let's see, Will Williams, right? So there's contributors that contribute to the site too. So and James Griffin is also a contributor in here. So there's a bunch of folks that are writing articles or whatever for
the final vote is a pure popular vote without any committee interjection. So it's looks like they have open voting.
Yeah.
So yeah. How do you stop ballot stuffing? Have an email gate that verifies valid emails used in both nomination and final voting. Well, I hope you have more than that as your prevention measure.
Right.
Because one place we've learned where people do cheat a lot is in the podcast award voting process.
And then there's also another podcast award.
Discover
the
Pod.
Dutch podcast.
I think I heard about that one.
Yep. That one They they will announce the awards this Friday or on Friday, November 6th. So
Okay.
it's from September 23. You can vote for your favorite podcast.
Here's the good thing about EU sites. They've got these big accept privacy statements that pop up on the
Right.
screen. Yeah.
Right.
So here's the Dutch Podcast Awards website. Ask podcastawards.nl. You got a good one. They got the Dutch variant of it. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I still think we have the best trophies.
Oh yeah.
Our trophies are pretty awesome. I have one. I've got a sample. Let me go get it.
Oh, you do?
It says sample trophy on it, just so everybody knows. So here's a 2014 Podcast Awards People's Choice sample trophy.
Okay, you got to switch the video back.
Oh, is that better? Well, you'll see it backwards, Rob. The audience will see it right, I think.
No, I'm just not seeing it all because.
Oh, sheesh, that was stupid. All right, so
webpage,
right? Yeah, so here it is.
Okay.
And cool. These are made by the same companies that make the Country Music Award bullets. So as you can see, we've got a little platform. Looks like, some sort of mobile device. It used to, before it was an iPod, and then of course the RSS on top.
Right.
So yeah, sample trophy, and as you can see right there behind me, and on the screen is the
there it is.
There it is. So
that's the outline of it. Yep.
Yeah, these are molded and poured. They're fantastic, and I've had a few break over the years in shipping. That sucked. But
so is that a glass or
it's acrylic? It's
acrylic.
Can't afford glass.
Plus it's so heavy.
Yeah, and this is pretty heavy though.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the sample trophy. Someone said, "Oh, you got an award." I said, "No, that's just a sample trophy." Participation trophy.
Todd can't win his own award.
No, I can't, but I can have a sample trophy.
Yes, you can, which is almost as good.
And we do let all our nominees and winners order extras and stuff like that. The winners all get free ones. Now the subcategories get a little shorter one. This is the one for the People's Choice. That's the most expensive bad boy. That's about $249, I think, is what that trophy cost me. The small ones are $100 something, and then we do a little markup, some shipping, and so people can. Usually, I get about 50 trophies in here about Christmas time.
Thought I saw that a company launched a new podcast catcher app for Windows.
I heard that.
And I haven't seen that happen in a long.
It's a PWA. It's not a. It's a pub.
Yeah.
It's a, and it'll work fine in a. I'm going to link to it.
Yeah, it's called Podfriend.
Podfriend. Yep.
Podfriend.
Put that.
If you wanted to, if you happen to be a Windows 10 user.
Oh, that's interesting. So, hey, Podfriend folks, one thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your SSL certificate set up for your website. You're running on a non-secure, and that's going to cause you trouble down the road.
Right.
See if I can show it here. There's the website. But I don't know. Where's the public web app at?
It's a desktop app.
But what's
the only thing they currently have?
Download for Windows. Oh.
Right.
I don't have a Windows machine. How come they just didn't make it a PWA then and make it so it could be used on?
Well, I think you can. I believe it.
I didn't go to it with my mobile phone, so who knows?
So says desktop app, Mac or Windows. So how come they're showing it show up in a mobile device on the screen?
Because it renders like it looks like a mobile device. That's what a PWA is.
No, but it's not a downloadable to an iPhone or an Android device yet.
No, but if they build it correctly, it will load the website. If it's on a website, the website will load as a
Right.
mobile.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just not seeing that it's available on the web.
It's only available for Windows right now. It says so, and it's an actual. Let me look at it. It's an exe. There's nothing for the Mac yet either. So maybe, yeah, desktop. That
So
wasn't what it was. That wasn't what.
It's coming. Period.
That is not what was advertised, though. They advertised a PWA, which is supposed to be accessible via a web address.
I'm not seeing that here. Though.
Yeah, so let me try, because that was in the press release. Let me try app.podfriend.com. Nope, that's not. That didn't work. So
it says Podfriend is beta. We're working hard to release it on all platforms. What it says.
And who's behind this? Let me go to the page.
I don't know. I'm not seeing.
It doesn't say no abouts or anything.
Right.
Yeah. Running in anonymous mode. The website's cute.
Yeah. It's an attractive looking app, I have to say.
See all those little graphics that load like that? They kind of have that little movement going on. That is that's heavy load on a website and rendering, and goes against your score. But they've done a pretty good job here with all these little the phone bounce. Nice. So
we love the little geeky tech stuff, don't we?
Yeah.
And I also thought it was interesting that Apple bought Scout FM.
That was some time ago.
Yeah, earlier this past year, yes. And I guess the rumor is that they took that technology and built it into Station.
Aha.
Into iOS 14.
All right.
And let's see, there is a yeah, that's cool.
So for those of you that have joined us a little bit late, we are only going to we're going to be wrapping the show up in about 11 minutes. We can't go a full 90 minutes today. We've got, I have an interview with Adam Curry that we're pre-recording for the National Podcast Day, so I apologize for cutting Rob short today, but between Mackenzie's presentation that she just got done at the top of the hour, and then us having a sprint retrospective and everything else, I just couldn't start early today. So,
and then Dave, or not Dave, but Daniel. Well, I should say Dave Jack got his new podcast book out.
What is the title of that? Let me go find it. We might as well pimp it here for him. Let me see here. Where was that? Let's see. Gosh. Someone maybe in the chat room can help us out with the new name of it, but there was a link to it somewhere.
I would imagine he's got it on his website.
Oh, he might. Go over there. Let's go school.
That's where I'm at right now.
He was complaining he hasn't gotten a copy of it yet. And Rob Walsh said, well, maybe Pat Flynn bought all of the copies because it wasn't, this book was going to replace the $997 course for.
Right. Yeah, Yeah, he didn't post a link to it on his website.
Come on now, Dave. If you're going to promote yourself.
Yeah, I think he's been talking about it on Facebook.
Let me go to Amazon and see if I can find it. We're really prepared, folks.
Oh, okay. It's here it is. Profit from your podcast. Proven strategies.
Here I found it.
Listeners into a livelihood.
Profit from Your Podcast. Yep. $16.99 paperback, $12.99 on Kindle.
Right.
And it's a #1 new release in search engine optimization. Oh, that's where they classified it. That's a weird spot to put it. So pick up any book, and you'll pick up any book on podcast monetization. You'll find 90% of it only covers how to launch a podcast. So, you guys go pick this up for Dave. He's a good guy. $12.99 Kindle edition.
It's #1 in blogging.
Is it? Oh, #1 in blogging. Well, good for him. So pick it up and support. Has it gotten any reviews? Is this Dave's first book?
I think he's had other ones.
He had some other ones. So my favorite podcasts, more podcasts money, get your brand out of the basement. So some of those are deals, 99 cents. So again, $12.99 is the profit from your podcast. So
yeah, I think his last book was about making money with podcasting. So.
Let's see if I can find something here.
Oh no, that was his first book. Right.
It's so funny. My book's so far out of date, it's not even searchable.
Right.
Let's see here if I can.
Man, I feel like I'm falling behind, Todd. I don't have a book.
You don't have a book?
I don't have a book. What's wrong with me?
Here's the funny part is the book that I did in 2005 was very early on in the Amazon days.
Yeah.
And I was the #1 tech selling book of 2005.
Right.
And I got so you know what that got me? Steak dinner. Steak dinner with from Amazon at some swanky hotel in Las Vegas. And then the New York Times, I was on a top 10 list with the New York Times, and that just got me a mention in New York Times. Oh, there it is. Here you go.
What's that? What'd you find?
Hey, you can buy it. It's still available.
What?
Used for $13.80. Oh, you can buy new. One of them for $23.90. I've got 9 in a box.
Oh, is that what they're referring to? Is your 9 in the box?
No, the 9 in the box are sitting in the closet right 8 feet from me. Wow, I can't believe it. 7 new from 1999, 29 used from 565. But it did 45,000 copies.
That's good.
Back in the day, that's kind of funny. It's still there. So there's, you can if you want an autograph, go ahead and buy one. But it's highly outdated. This book was written before Apple Podcasts it came out in just months before Apple put iTunes into podcasting. So,
well, that was the very first.
It was the first book. Right. Yeah. It's funny. $23.90 is what they're getting. I should still be getting royalty checks then.
I think you should.
I do get a royalty report every month, and for like 8 or 9 years, I was like the first couple of years were really good. I got paid in advance and I got paid royalty.
Right.
No one gets that anymore, right? No one gets an advance. I think I got $13,000 advance or something like that, and I got royalty check. And I tell people that I got royalty checks, and they look at me as stop. You got what? You got royalty checks? And but my last royalty check was 47 cents.
Wow.
Yeah, 40, and it came in a big folder with about 8 or 9 pieces of paper in it with a bunch of stuff I couldn't read and a check for 47 cents.
Really? Wow, that's almost insulting.
It is it's kind of funny, and it's all automated. Some machine put it together and cut the check.
Right.
So it is kind of insulting. But then Then you start getting reports about returns. After a number of years, it talks about how many books are returned that weren't sold. And then they take that, see that you've gotten in advance on those sales. Well, those returns then start going
So those to bookstores?
for bookstores or wherever. They've sent them back to the publisher. Then you start on your report, you start seeing a negative number. You're in arrears. So in other words, you're not getting any more royalties until those returned books, enough books have been sold to pay for the ones that have been returned.
Oh, okay. There's nothing worse than getting in the hole.
Yeah, no,
books,
but at least I didn't have to write them a check, thank goodness. But it went from 47 cents in the last check to owing money. All that stuff I probably shredded. It'd probably be entertaining just to have available and put up, but you never know. All right, we've got a few minutes left, Rob.
So today is the last day to sign up for the Podcast Academy before the price goes up to $100 a year.
And I announced that in the podcast award. I gave you a pitch. I did.
Wow, thank you. And last night I did a webinar on it with Michelle Kopp, and I talked about not last night. Sorry, Monday.
Yeah.
Talking about, and that's actually available as an on-demand video.
Well, why don't you send me the link and I'll put it in the show notes today.
Okay.
And
took a lot of questions. I think we had 250 people on the live webinar.
Wow.
So that was good.
Yeah, it is good.
Yep.
All right. We got to get out of here. I'm Todd at blueberry.com. Apologize for the short show today.
Okay. Rob G at Lipson.com if you want to send me an email. I'm also on Twitter at Rob Greenlee as well. So go sign up for the Podcast Academy. It's at thepodcastacademy.com.
$50 today, $100 tomorrow.
$50 today, $100 tomorrow.
So make her done, get her done, as they say.
Get her done. Yes.
So anyway, kind of a scatterbrain show, largely my fault. So send the hate email to Rob.
Thank you, Todd.
But everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of our little family. We will be back on Saturday for a regular, normal, non-scatterbrain show at 12 p.m.
I can't guarantee that it won't be scatterbrain, though. Todd.
Okay. 12.
Hey, good luck with the podcast awards tonight.
Yeah, the only thing
it's in the can. All you got to do is push the play button, right? So,
but you never know about internet.
Right.
You're holding your breath. Please let the internet gods let everything stay up and online.
Right.
In years past, I've sent Dave a copy of the file, so I might do that again this year just in case.
Right.
All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll see you next time here on the New Media Show. Take care. Bye bye.